What is going on? Is Dealer here, back again, playing the phenomenal looking Forza Motorsport 7 on the Xbox One X. And as I said in a recent Patreon video, I take the time and effort and invest in the hardware so I can bring you 4K 60 FPS representative indicative footage of the Xbox One X. My goal is to show people that, hey, Xbox games look absolutely phenomenal. Hope you guys enjoy the footage. Today we are talking about a few different things, including some brand new information on a leaked console debuting very soon. This would be the Xbox One S All Digital Edition. We've got pricing, reveal date, and more there. We've also got information regarding Xbox 2 and a dev kit leak, quote unquote. We're gonna break all of that down and more. Let's get into it. So let's talk Xbox One S All Digital Edition, or as some people are calling it, the SAD Edition. Well, regardless, this thing has leaked thanks to some European retailers. We've known this thing has been real for quite some time. We expected them to debut it quite some time ago. When we had Brad Sams on RDX Podcast, he himself was confused as to why it hadn't been shown off yet, but it is seemingly legitimate and it is going to be revealed very soon. In fact, Inside Xbox is very soon. The box may be revealed there with a confirmed but not confirmed price point of $249.99 US. Now instantly I know some of you are thinking, what? Yeah, 250 bucks. First things first, gotta point out that this is of course a rumor as of right now, but a very credible rumor. We know the box is real, but the price point is the part that we gotta speculate on. If this rumor is indeed false and the price point is lower, you can disregard a lot of what I'm about to say. Now keep in mind, the regular Xbox One S now I do believe retails for around $299, but you can almost always find this thing on sale in the mid 200s or even low 200s, in addition to having some games. Now it is important to note that this version of the Xbox One S will feature copies of Minecraft, Sea of Thieves, and Forza Horizon 3. Yes, the one from 2016. It will also feature a 1TB hard drive. Keep in mind, this is a digital-only Xbox, but I will follow that up with, hey, everyone's got external storage. If you do not, it is highly recommended and very accessible. So I'm not going to hammer them for launching with a 1TB because I know most everyone has an external. Instead of making everybody pay a higher base price for that 1TB or what would have been a 2TB, they can allow individuals to invest separately if they need more storage than that. So it does come with 3 games, even a version of a game that's 3 years old now. But here's the real problem. The console is too expensive. If this price is correct, which I do believe it will be, the system is too expensive. And I believe this is due to a lack of a full-on redesign. This thing looks just like an Xbox One S, but with a sealed off disk drive slot. And if they would have went back to the drawing board and reduced the overall size, the silicon that's being used, the amount of motherboard in there, perhaps the power supply, they could have shrunk the system overall, used less plastic, less circuitry, and maybe gotten that system down to an even cheaper price point because it needs it. Keep in mind, for the same price you can buy an Xbox One S easily with copies of new games like Anthem and Battlefield 5. Also keep in mind that there's no 4K Blu-ray drive in the all digital edition, whereas for the same price, or even less sometimes, you can find regular Xbox One S's that have that 4K Blu-ray drive capability. I'm not sure of the thinking, the thought process here. Maybe you can let me know down below. Do you agree that the Xbox One S All Digital Edition should be $249.99 US? What is essentially a $50 price cut, but keep in mind you can already find Xbox One S's for far cheaper than $299. You can already find them at this price point, and they often include a game and a 4K Blu-ray drive. Do you think they should have ditched the games, given it a 500GB hard drive, and got it down to $199? I mean, nobody wants a smaller hard drive, but keep in mind you can always expand that at will with an external. It's all about that base price, and I get that you can find current Xbox One S's cheap now, and that will extend to the digital version of the Xbox One S as well. They'll both be cheaper on sale, and the S will be cheaper ultimately. But is it enough? That's my question to you. I'm not sure. Let me know your thought process down below. What I do know is that this price is not low enough. For many, it would have needed to be $199 or even $149.99. Apparently, that's not the route Microsoft are going. And this whole thing opens up new questions like, did they keep the ESRAM of the system? Did they leave the ESRAM in there? Or did they actually upgrade it to GDDR5? Which, like I said before with the Xbox One X, GDDR5 is so fast that the system doesn't even know the ESRAM's not there. It will just work. just like it does on the Xbox One X. And those are things you really look at for the long run of the console. We know the S is going to be in service for quite some time, and that's really worth considering. But don't get me wrong, I want the best for the system. I want the Xbox One to go as far as it can. That's why I want them to do the right thing, get it as cheap as possible. Pricing is king, and it is key to their long-term strategy. Ultimately, whether it's $250, $199, we will see how they approach this, and I wish them the best of luck. The Xbox 2, the next Xbox, the one that's coming out in 2020. Okay, yes, it's going to be a monster, and there are going to be a couple different SKUs of this thing on day one. According to my very own theory in June 2018, Brad Sams, and others, we are looking at a multi-SKU launch for the Xbox 2, we'll call it. 2 different levels of power, same APU when it comes to the CPU potentially, but 2 different levels of GPU power available. Add to that something like an SSD, maybe more RAM. You've got a high-end SKU, a low-end SKU. Keep in mind the Xbox One X will also still work, and the Xbox One S will also still work. That's one reason you could learn quite a bit about the next Xbox at this year's E3. Microsoft don't hold out anymore. They're like, hey, we got another Xbox coming next year, and they're not worried about it because they know all the Xboxes they already have, all the ones you might buy, all the ones you will buy, they'll all work. The same will go for your controllers, headsets, etc. Well, there's been yet another reporting on the Xbox 2, and I am here to bring it to you. So, next-gen Xbox Anaconda specs leak pointing to 8-core 16-thread AMD Zen 2 CPU and Navi GPU. That sentence alone should send chills down any tech enthusiast's spine. The article says this new leak via dev kit on Reddit aligns with some previous ones. However, only the Anaconda variant has been mentioned. The Anaconda being the high-end Xbox 2 that will likely retail for $499. This dev kit supposedly features a custom 8-core AMD Zen 2 CPU. Keep in mind we had heard Zen 2 from reliable sources such as Brad Sams. Not only that, but it makes perfect sense to go down to a 7nm node. The reason you want a node shrink, especially in a console, is because the smaller the chip, the less power it consumes, the less power it consumes, the less heat. The less heat, the higher they can clock the chip, the more performance they can get from the chip, and that is obviously going to benefit a console, especially a console, which is ultimately a low-power part. The Xbox One X, for instance, runs on a 245-watt power supply. That is the total system power supply, significantly less than most gaming PCs out there. It's truly impressive performance per watt. With a node shrink comes the need for less power, comes the need for less of a power supply. It all trickles down into the overall cost of the unit, not to mention the cooling for the unit itself as well. All of these things stack, and if you can make your chip as efficient as possible, you make the rest of your job even easier. Now, the cool thing about this CPU is that it is equipped with SMT. That essentially means that it is an 8-core with 8 additional virtual threads. You get a total of 16 threads. I've explained it before as simply as possible as basically getting performance close to or similar to a 16-core CPU while only having to have the power draw and the physical space for 8 cores. Ultimately, a Zen 2 CPU with only 8 cores and 8 threads, meaning no SMT, would smoke all consoles in the current generation combined. But if they go SMT in addition to this Zen core chip, it is going to be that much more potent, and you can expect games on all fronts to start using more cores, more threads. It's good news, more destruction, higher frames per second, more detail, more geometry, better AI, better simulation, and most importantly, as I've said a million times, better physics. Physics is going to be absolutely massive with these next consoles. You're going to see stuff on console you've never seen before. It says here that Zen 2 in the next Xbox will be clocked at 3.2 gigahertz. So not only is it a much more efficient CPU than pretty much everything in all current gen consoles combined, but it is also clocked substantially higher, meaning that if it were clocked at 2.3 gigahertz just like the Xbox Xbox One X, it would run circles around it. Add to that it's supposedly clocked at 3.2 GHz, which gives it an even bigger advantage. It says here that Navi in the Xbox Anaconda is running at approximately 1500 MHz. For reference, Xbox One X's GPU is running at 1172 MHz. So Navi in the Anaconda is substantially faster. Very impressive for a console. And that's what you can get with more efficient parts. As I said before, less power draw, less heat, higher clocks. This article is also predicting near RTX 2070 performance, which is a bit faster than a GTX 1080. But the real story of these new consoles is not the GPU power. Yes, there will be a leap, especially on Anaconda, but it is the CPU capability that unlocks 60 FPS for a lot more games. And as I said before, just better, more well-rounded visuals. These games are going to look insane. Now, this next part is where you start to pull yourself back from this leak, especially because it is not happening. I know for sure it's not happening, but there's good news here as well. Dev kits often feature memory solutions that are never present on the console itself. The Xbox One X dev kit featured 24 gigabytes of GDDR5. The retail unit featured half of that. Xbox One X dev kit also featured a 1TB SSD. The retail variant featured a 1TB 5400 RPM. Those two hard drives almost could literally not be any farther apart. This dev kit supposedly features 4 TB of SSD-driven storage and 48 gigabytes of GDDR6. We know these things will never see the light of day on console. Now, what does that say for the retail unit? Even if they half that dev kit memory, you are looking at an insane amount of RAM. Historically, that RAM is half from the dev kit to the retail unit. Even if you had 24 gigabytes of GDDR6, that seems insane to me on the Xbox Anaconda. At the very most, I would imagine 16 gigabytes of GDDR6, but even then, that's quite a bit as well. Ultimately, we will have to see. Games get more and more memory hungry every single year, and developers are literally just saying, hey, if you can find memory, consume it. Even if it is not a requirement for any kind of high resolution asset, games tend to eat that stuff up automatically now. So I guess we will see. Otherwise, yes, you will likely see some kind of SSD in the next Xbox in 2020. Ultimately, we will have to wait and see. So let me know your thoughts down below. We know it's Zen. We know it's going to be an amazing leap when it comes to the CPU. We know it's going to be about twice as fast on the GPU side as the Xbox One X. Combine that with a better CPU, you are getting some ridiculously fantastic looking games. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'm quite stoked about all of this. Of course, if you like this video or learned something today, hit that like button, share this with a buddy or two if you really want to help the channel, maybe like this video. And of course, keep it locked here for all of your tech-driven console news. All of this, of course, linked down below. Check out those links. Once more, I'm Dealer. I'm out.